test our faith with these serpents. Now we show it.
Hello everybody, it's Aaran back from Screenstars, and I'm here today to bring you another review for Geek Legion of Doom. Today I'm taking a look at Salvation. The film is directed by Mackenzie Munro and it stars Claire Forlani, Thomas Jane, Skeet Ulrich, Devon Bostick, Theo Rossi and Ashley Moore. Now, the film follows a troubled teen, Angela, played by Ashley Moore. She is constantly getting in trouble. She's very close now to actually seeing real jail time because she's almost an adult. And her social worker, I presume it's a social worker, Nick, played by Theo Rossi, gets her one last chance. And this chance is to live with a family in the South who's quite religious, who foster children. Initially, she is absolutely no intention of staying. She's a real troublemaker. She struggles to get on with their other adopted daughter, but she soon starts to develop a bond with this family. However, this family and the whole of the community are deeply religious, and this leads to the local pastor, played by Thomas Jane. It's revealed that he's a very, very troubled man, and this leads to a direct confrontation with Angela and her adopted family. Right. What are my thoughts on Salvation? Well, this is a thriller with some light horror elements. I went into this film thinking it was a horror, so that kind of clouded sometimes a little bit of my judgment watching this, because the way the film was set up, troubled teen goes to a deeply religious family in the South, you immediately start thinking about things like cults and, demonic, religious communities and all that jazz. And in actual fact, it's, while it kind of touches on that kind of subject matter and those elements, it really isn't that type of film. It kind of tries to make you think it's going down that route, but in actual fact it isn't. Now, would it have been a better film if it had gone down that route? I'm not really going to argue the fact that it potentially would have been. What we've got here is, like I said, a thriller that kind of fails to deliver on the thrills, which is a real shame. Thrillers, when done properly, can be real kind of, edge of the seat stuff. And we've got an impressive cast here. You've got Claire Forlani, Thomas Jane, Skeet Ulrich, and even Theo Rossi that you see in quite a lot of stuff. It's a talented cast here. And while I do think they all deliver on the performances, I don't have an issue with any of the performances, especially Ashley Moore, who plays this troubled teen, Angela. I think she does an excellent job too, in regards to the performance. But what we get here is a little bit of a muddled film. You get this position here in the film where you've got this troubled teen, you're expecting bother, then you're expecting creepiness from the townspeople because they kind of worship serpents and snakes, and the pastor, played by Thomas Jane, claims that he's possessed by some demon, but in actual fact, is he possessed by a demon, or is he just an absolute bastard, really? Does he, is he a wife beater and an abuser and all this kind of stuff? And the film attempts to answer these questions. It doesn't necessarily do a really good job of doing it, because you've got the pastor's son, played by Devon Bostick, who, is very interested in this Angela character, and then that relationship goes sour, and then the community starts turning on the family because of this, that, and the other, and you're kind of like, what is the central core of this issue? It kind of fails to kind of deliver this core issue that's supposed to kind of keep you interested and engaged in the story. And it goes from kind of this troubled teen who at the beginning was a real handful to going from that to this teen that will kind of loves this family and wants everything to run smoothly for this family. She doesn't want to be apart from this family, and the film doesn't do a great job of developing that bonding process. It kind of happens all a bit too quickly. So what you've got here is a little bit of a model film. It's trying to be a thriller, but it's also hinting at horror elements that aren't really there. Now, I think this film probably would have been better if they'd have really fully committed to the horror aspects of the film. A possessed Thomas Jane would have been a cool thing, maybe, in the film. But in actual fact, what you get is, a hint and a suggestion that that's taking place. But in actual fact, it's really more of the fact that, he's just an abuser, really. But it does kind of leave that suggestion there. So another thing that I kind of struggled to kind of get on board with was the fact that she's very early on, this Angela, this troubled teen, introduced to the church. She goes to this church, and so they're there. You've got this crazy pastor played by Thomas Jane Whitney at the front preaching in a bit of a manic way. You've got people worshipping snakes, and she kind of seems quite accepting of that. Now, I'm sorry, but if I was taken to one of those kind of places and I was kind of given the opportunity to see that kind of sermon, I'd be running a bloody mile down the road, and that doesn't happen here in this film. So it's a decent film. It doesn't actually fully deliver, but the production values are of a good standard and the performances are all of a good standard. So yeah, check it out if any of what I've said sounds interesting. So thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to call back on Geek Legion of Doom for plenty more reviews and content very, very soon.